had this thing where like it just happened. I'm actually embarrassed in case Lisa hears me talking about this because I do not come out of this story well. But basically, I've become obsessed with trying to eat more healthily because I've just been eating so much shit like during lockdown. So then I thought to myself, I want to eat. I want to eat some salad, right? I thought I'd become obsessed, and it wasn't like I want to eat some salad. It was like, right, salad's the fit. I'm gonna start eating. I'm gonna make a salad. Right? This became the fucking all-encompassing thing for me, right? So I went down the shop. I got all the salad stuff and things like that. And I said to Lisa, I'm gonna do a salad with dinner, and it's gonna be great, and blah blah blah. And she was like, yeah, okay, because she knows that she sort of has adapted to my twattishness. So that was fine. I mean, I came home and I started doing the salad straight away, right? And then she goes to me, what are you doing the salad now for? Like, we're not having dinner for ages. To me, that is what she said. In my mind, in the level of stress and kind of loss of perspective, I was like, why can't I just, I want to make a salad because that's a healthy thing that I want to do. And now, apparently, I'm not making it at the right, can I not just in my own house make this salad when I want to make this salad, right? And it was just like, it became such a, I mean, obviously, as I'm saying that to you now, I'm like, Romesh, I know you're thinking, Romesh, you sound like an absolute arsehole in that story. And I totally get that. But in that, it's that thing of like, because you're cooped up, in that moment, you feel so justified in that response. You feel like that, because I know 99% of the fallouts I have with my wife, I'm in the wrong. I discover that a little bit down the line, and then I have to go and, sort of, and sometimes I'll be in the middle of it and I'll go, you're going to regret this in the future because you're going to realize why you've been a prick. So why don't you just nip in the... Whereas this time I was like, nah, man, fuck that, man. You're right on this salad thing. You are right on this salad thing, bro. And then like moments later, I realized that I've just been behaving like an absolute loon. Do you know what I mean?
It's a pressure cooker, isn't it? We're talking about salads and stuff like that. There's a massive rise of this whole emerging people getting fitter in lockdown. Where are you in this? I mean, the dad bod is apparently, that's the way forward now, the dad bod as well. So, I mean, are you championing that, would you say?
Anything you watch, if a bloke takes his shirt off, he's got a bloody six-pack. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like ridiculous. It's just like everybody everywhere just has a six-pack.
Any male actors that I've worked with that have gone on to be successful look like Thor. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we look like Thor in the last film when he sat there with a,
That's the look I was going for.
That's the look I'm going for as well.
My weight has always been up and down. I've fluctuated from probably like 13 stone to 22 stone in my sort of adult life. And, it's something that's always struggled with me. Always made. Every day I go through, shall I have a Chinese tonight? No, don't have a Chinese tonight. Shall I have a Chinese tonight? Oh, yeah, but you've done really well. Yeah, go on then, have a Chinese. Then afterwards, you twat, why'd you have a Chinese for? You had one the other day. And it's literally constantly in my head. It's something that's really, really, as I've had to deal with my entire life. When we went into lockdown, I was really getting it together. I was feeling better. I was going to the gym every morning again. I had my old routine. I started feeling like myself. I was eating pretty well. And we went into lockdown. I was like, I can't go to the gym. I've got an exercise bike. It's not the same at all. It was like, just toured the kitchen, just looking at the sink. Like, that really hit me mentally bad. And I just thought, I've ruined everything. Everything's tighter on me. And that really, really does get to me. And in the last couple of weeks, I started doing this thing called DDPY, which is done by a wrestler. He's like 65 now and whatever. And it's like a form of yoga. But I started doing that. And I just literally, the amount my mental state has changed in the last 2 weeks doing this and having that routine in the morning, doing it and actually feeling like, I could feel that I'd had a workout. I mean, I've lost 15 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
Good man.
Because I've been smashing it and eating right. And it makes me feel so much better.
Do you know what I find upsetting is when I see I see an article that says dad bods are in, and I see
it's like Chris Pratt or someone like that.
I see the photo and I'm like, that's like an aspirational target for me. What you're putting forward is something I should feel good about as an aspirational target. But I've been exercising more, but this is the first time I think, because I've had more time to do it because we've been on lockdown, but I've not been results orientated in exercise for the first time in a long time, where I've just sort of thought, I'm not doing this for any other reason apart from just for the benefits of actually doing it in itself, the experience of doing it, adding a bit of routine to my day, the enjoyment of it. I'm not attaching any physical targets to this. I'm not attaching any, I want to look trimmer as a result of this. And actually, it's been much better.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it much more for that.
I think that's why a lot of people are out jogging. I think that's why a lot of people are taking every opportunity to do something physical, just to burn off a bit of stress, because it does get you after a while. Very quickly, I worked out that I was going to fuse if I didn't do something different. So the dog has never been thinner, and that dog is taken for 10:30 around the golf course, whether she wants to go or not.
It's about adapting. The last few weeks have been better because I was trying to work from home, and there was no structure.
I'm not good with an absence of structure. I tend to go feral. If my wife and kids go out for a bit, they'll come back and find that I've eaten nothing but hot sauce all day and I'm naked 3 in the afternoon. So I do kind of tend to need stuff in place. You know what I mean, my wife's pretty good at that. She sort of helps me out by structuring the day. If I was left to my own devices, I would just sink into a pile of my own excrement, I think. So we'll see how it goes, man.
We found that most of us we need to be in a couple of days a week just to see somebody. 3 days a week working in Zoom or Microsoft Teams seems fine. There just comes a point where you just need to go and see somebody from work, or just be out of the house. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I find these meetings far more intense than proper meetings, when you can have a bit of humor, or you get up and go for a pee or have a cup of tea or something. Yeah. On these, you've got to sit down for 80, 90 minutes and pay attention. Yeah. And my attention span's just not that good.
There's pros and cons to it, isn't there? I mean, it probably means that in the future, I won't have to get on a train to go to Paddington, to go to London for a meeting for an hour and turn around and come back again, or drive away to Birmingham and back for a 1 hour meeting. But at the same time, having this onslaught constantly is quite draining. I felt exhausted yesterday.
We adapt, do you know what I mean? And we never knew that a lot of these things that have happened were going to happen, and we found a workaround, and that's not been perfect in every instance. But in my better moments, I feel pretty zen about it. I think there will be a workaround. You'll find some way of doing it, and things will continue. But it's that uncertainty, I think, is it can cause you anxiety, definitely.
I think we should talk a lot more about this sort of stuff, because if you think about my situation, our patients want to see our faces. So when I turn up looking like a badly dressed surgeon with a mask on the wrong way around and just a ridiculous sort of spit through pity, and you're paranoid, that's just not a great way to start a conversation. So you've got to debate, is it better if you guys are in distress, right? And you've been in to see Tom and the barbers or whatever, would you rather have a conversation with me and see my face over Zoom, or would you rather make me dressed like a badly dressed surgeon? The jury's out, really.
Yeah.
But Rom, I was going to say the same thing is true in psychiatry. A lot of the communication is visceral. It's emotional. It's through the experience of being in a room with people or a person. It's not about language necessarily. It's not even about verbal communication. There's a lot of non-verbal in it, and a lot of that gets taken away when we're using techniques like this, or we're dressed up in PPE.
It's about human connection. It's about communication, but that 56% of communication that is non-verbal. It's all about that stuff, and you just can't do it through this screen at all.
What we're all saying is we all kind of get fired up by the relationship with other people in our day-to-day lives. It sounds to me as if we all quite like the spark of human contact.
Yeah, but what about those people, Peter, that don't? That people that kind of like being isolated pre-lockdown.
Well, for some of them, it seems to be an endorsement that they've been looking for a long time. That they've got over worrying about what they're going to wear or what they're going to do when they go out. It's great. I don't have to go out, and they're actually in quite a good space. And then for others, it's an entrapment, and I think it's really difficult to know. I think because what it said, an Englishman's home is his castle. I think people's homes are one of the most least understood areas of life. I mean, if you look at my work, we would say what goes on in public spaces is discoverable, and we can know how to look after people out and about in the world. We're not very good at looking after people, though, once they go behind their front door, whether it's domestic abuse or suicide risk or all of the other kind of things that have probably got a bit worse with COVID. They're all happening in space that there's really no permission to go, from an agency of the state. So we're really, really reliant on people finding a way to get outside, whether it's virtually or by phone or whatever. It's very different. There are clearly an awful lot of young people out there who are not doing well with this, finding it very stressful, finding the isolation difficult to get through, don't like being online, don't like the scrutiny of it. get a bad experience of being trolled, whatever.
Are any of your mates struggling or not coping? Or
we've started having a regular kind of catch up with friends on on a Zoom chat, a group of us that have knocked about for a while, and it's like I said last time. It feels like the conversations have become a little bit more sensitive than they normally are. I mean, it's normally when we meet up, it's pretty torrid. Kind of everybody receives their kind of turn to get roasted by everyone else, and then you sort of carry on with your evening. Whereas it's been a little bit more sensitive than that, I think, because not just because of mental health reasons, but because people are financially they're worried and stuff like that, and people are being sensitive to that. Everybody's in different kind of circumstances, So I think people have just thought it's good for us to be checking in with each other and things like that.
I was going out for the first time to go and see somebody, actually, and I was looking at my jeans and what to wear for the day, and I realised that I've only ever wore a pair of jeans once in the whole 12 weeks, or trousers with structure, and it was almost like they were talking to me from a coat, from a kind of clothes rack, going, put me on now. And I realised that for me, it wasn't a fear of going out, but the jeans to me represented almost a fear of going back to reality.
I do get what you're saying, Ant, about the whole thing of going back to reality. I mean, I love my job and I love everything I do, and I enjoy my work, but it's the thing that you're losing in order to do as much of those things you're doing, which is time with your family. And I've been, and this lockdown, the silver lining of it has been that I've been able to be busy, but also be present in Lisa and the kids' lives. And that is something that once we get back to reality, I'm not going to have that luxury anymore. The truth is, human nature tends to be that you go, yeah, that's really made me think for about a week. Yeah. And then you just go back to normal. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes you're just thinking, oh, this is all a bit of a dream. It's all just going to go back to normal. And then you sit and think about it. You think, actually, clearly it's not. Things are going to be quite different. But on an emotional level, I'm pretty sure that my inner self hasn't quite adjusted to the idea that it isn't going to be back to February,
to normal,
or even October.
I see the people worrying about going back to work, the anxieties of PPE, what should we use, what can we use? Hairdressing and barbering is not a regulated industry. They're all worried about that and worried about being how busy they are. But I don't think any of them, or many of them, have actually thought about the thing that we do, where we listen to people all day, every day, and you've got 70 million people going back out into the world to get a haircut, and all of them, 10 to 20 a day, are going to sit in your chair and tell you about what they've been through in COVID. Yeah. And have the barbers thought about their own well-being, what they're going to be listening to, what they're going to be doing. And I think that's one of my anxieties. How can we prepare as many of those barbers and hairdressers as possible for what's going to be coming to them mentally?
I have to keep reminding myself that my experience of this is, as an essential worker, quite different from everybody else's. Being in front line, seeing patients, seeing colleagues, all of these kind of things. So I don't feel the anxiety about going out that even the rest of my family feel. So I think if you've been furloughed, or you've been locked down, or you've been shielding somebody, and all of a sudden the government turns around and says, by the way, it's all right to go out, it's a big leap to take that step, isn't it?
With the three of you being fathers as well, have your kids kind of, have they impressed you in any way with the whole lockdown situation? Have they done anything that's made you sit back and go, as a dad, fucking hell, wow, I wasn't expecting that? Have they supported you?
I suspect children and young people generally have better resilience than we give them credit for. And we've kind of put our own anxieties on it. But what really impressed me was their enthusiasm for getting a job. One of my three is working frontline on the co-op, and I reckon he's seeing more patients in a day for really important conversations behind the perspex in the co-op than I'm doing. And he often says that that's what he's doing. He's listening to the worried elderly of the village coming through the co-op, standing at the till and talking to him.
One of our boys is his last year of primary school. That kind of last year with his mates who might not be going on to the same school as him next year. So that's hit him quite hard, and we've been worried about him. But the truth is, he's been very kind of pragmatic about it, And it's weird because when I was chatting to you guys last time, I was talking about how much the boys are on Fortnite and how my instincts. As our instincts as parents are to think, shit, we need to limit this as much as possible. And we do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not suddenly giving them like free rein on it, but they're chatting to their mates through it. And he's chatting to all these guys, these people that are going through the same thing as him. And often, it's funny. I was watching my son playing the game the other day, and for a long period, they weren't even in a game. They're in the waiting lobby. You know, they'd not even gone into a game, and they were just they were just chatting to each other, and they were like going through choosing different characters and choosing different bits and pieces. But actually, what they were doing was, it was like their equivalent of sitting in a coffee shop or something and having a chat. Do you know what I mean? They were just, and I thought to myself, well, that is a positive thing. Something that I'd initially seen as kind of a time drain. Do you know what I mean? And an impact on his productivity and his focus actually has been quite a useful tool. That's the honest truth of it. At least, I'll be honest with you, that I might be sort of over-egging that to get away with the fact that I haven't restricted him as much as I probably should be. But different people feel differently about lockdown getting relaxed and all of these the nuances of that, because there are some people that are like, this is not happening fast enough and I want to get back out and the economy's struggling, I want to get back to work, blah blah blah. There's other people that are thinking, well, hold on, I don't feel like the numbers back up what's happening here. I don't feel comfortable. The whole country is going, we're going to relax into this, and I don't feel ready to do that. Does that make me, you know, I think about with our kids and their school situation, there are certain parents that are fairly robust about it and think they can go back. You know, they were talking about it going back, and then, you know, other parents who are concerned about it, and then you start thinking, shit, I'm now worried about where I fit in the in the scale of all of that. You know, there's all of those kind of worries about, because there is no set in stone set of morals about this. You know, we don't, everybody has a different feeling on this, and so all of those different things, I think, lead to your worries. You know,
if we'd had COVID when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have seen a soul, and I wouldn't have been anybody to talk to. You know, middle sort of town, the west of Scotland. If we weren't allowed to go out, what would that have been like?
I'm very grateful that this has happened at this time, because if I was 18, 19 when I moved out home and this happened, my life was going to the local rock club on a Friday night and seeing everybody, and that was my circle. That was, I can't not go because I might miss something. I mean, there was never anything to miss really. It was just people drinking £2 cans of beer and, you know, sitting in the car park most of the time, missing half of what's going on in the club, chatting outside.
Back then, going out, being in the pub, going to venues, going to see live music, that was just the only way you connected with people.
I need to get reacquainted with the fact that people have a rest of a body. Do you know what I mean? Because I've just been seeing heads and sort of top half. So I think that's going to be the thing I've got to get used to, man. I'm not seeing physical people. Do you know what I mean?
I'm quite happy with that part of me. That's fine.
There's a huge surge in kind of, you know, clothes from the waist up, no trousers being bought. Have you bought anything crazy?
I bought a complete DJ setup. I mean, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I decided that I bought decks, I bought speakers and all that shit. Actually, do you know the other thing I've been buying, which is mad? I'm a bit of a trainer head. Yeah, and I've been buying loads of trainers, and then I'm not going out. So I'm just buying like ornaments basically, because I'm not leaving the house to try them out.
I just keep buying film memorabilia shit, as you can see behind me. This thing here, this limited edition. I don't know why I bought it. I was expecting it to be 8 inches that big, and it's that big. Kid robot.
Story of my life, mate, that is.
Hopefully next time we'll be able to do this in a bar, even better, after July the 4th. So, yeah. So I wish you a good night. We better get ourselves
trim for that then, hadn't we?
We better.
I'll get the clippers ready.
We'll have a Romesh's salad.
Buy some trousers.